Today we're going to talk about an incredible Speedway rider who turned to be a stunt driver. And I thought Ronnie Moore was one of the crazy guys in the Speedway who turned to be a stunt rider. But Ronnie Moore was a stunt rider turned Speedway. But this guy, Putt Mossman, was incredible. He was a captain of the Speedway team USA in like 36. And then he changed and became a world-class, world-renowned stunt driver of motorcycles. He was a professional boxer, baseball player. He won championships and set world records in horseshoes. This guy did it all. And today we're going to talk a little bit about this amazing guy named Putt Mossman. Have you heard of Putt Mossman? He was an incredible talent.
I have not met the gentleman yet, but it's fascinating reading, and I think he will be a fascinating guest. Would you welcome? He's from Pointer, I believe it's pronounced, Missouri. Putt Mossman.
Putt traveled the world 3 times around the world. He was just a trooper. And you know, wherever there was money to be made, you know that Putt Mossman was going to be there. He's going to make that money. This guy got rich. He was super rich. He got more richer than riding Speedway. And he actually had like a carnival show. And people all around the world, when he booked, they paid him lots of money. And they came watch this incredible talent, Putt Mossman.
How are you, Putt?
Oh, fine.
I want to tell you, it's nice to meet you, and it's nice to have you here. And after reading this article, I suppose it's nice to be any place, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
This is incredible. I read this article this afternoon, and I said, this man has got to be crazy. I asked Evel Knievel on the show a few weeks ago. That's before he made that jump out here at the Los Angeles Coliseum. Why he did it, and I suppose you get that all your life. Why you put your life on the line like this. You were supposed to be here in September, right?
No,
Originally.
October the 12th.
Yeah, what happened?
I hit a car head on and broke this leg in several places and knocked my knee out.
Now, if this isn't one of the most incredible, the most skillful motorcycle riders that you know, I don't know who it is, because Putt was an insanely gifted rider, and he became good friends with the promoters in the United Kingdom. And Hackney Speedway, he would do weekly shows, trying to do weekly shows, because every time Putt booked, you know, his performance, they went ahead and they doubled their crowds at Hackney. So Putt was playing golfing, probably putting, you know, putting on that green. And the promoter at the Hackney, he said, I want you every week to come because my attendance doubles when you're here. And Putt went around to all the British League teams all over the place. He performed. He was just an amazing guy.
Pitching horseshoe for the first time tonight.
You haven't pitched horseshoes since then?
But I'll still throw half ringers or better, I think.
You held a record once, didn't you, where you pitched 39 out of 40 ringers?
Yes, I have one of the shoes with me tonight that I made that at Chicago, the Coliseum,
What year?
1926.
1926?
There's nobody that I know that would go ahead and climb a 90-foot tower, put a paper trash bag over his head and soak it in gasoline, light the bag on fire, and then jump off a 90-foot tower into a little bucket of water. Who would do such a crazy thing? I know I wouldn't. I think it was Putt Mossman. He's the one that would do such a crazy thing.
I have not seen this, so watch the monitors in the studio, and we'll show you, and you can talk over this, Putt.
Well, I'll try and get it the best I can. Now,
okay, here we are.
I don't remember it all, but I'll bring back some. Yeah?
Yeah?
That's me.
You good-looking devil, you.
Well, that was just one of my first warm-up stunts. Now, boy, I almost missed 2 tonight. That's one.
1931.
1931. And we made that out here in the hills between Glendale and I don't know where, but there used to be a hamburger joint near that, and I had a hill climb in there. I don't know if that'll be in or not, but this is some of my first ones. But that was an Indian 4 I'm using there.
Yeah.
And Indian kept me up for several years. Then finally I rode into Harleys, and then I got over to overseas in England, and I used JAPs, OK Supreme, and all that. That's one.
Well, that's incredible. Now, you got to be moving along pretty good there.
Well, I'm doing about 40, 45 miles an hour. There's a hard stunt to do. And do you know, they gave me $1,500 for that.
Is that right?
Yeah, Pete Smith and MGM. I made one with Universal, too. Now, here we come. I believe this is this shooting or pitching horseshoes?
Pitching
Yes.
horseshoes is you...
About 40 miles an hour. This is slow motion. I pitch the first one when I'm close. That's it. And I got a ringer, too. You know? Hope I do that good tonight.
Yeah.
Now, this is some shooting, I believe. Ray Grant is my...
Oh, yeah, I can see overhead you're shooting it.
He's throwing the clay pigeons in the air, and I'm shooting them with a shotgun. Yeah? Now, he'll throw another. Oh, this is where I jumped in the pier. Oh, Burdine Lindsay was there watching, and she was Gene Harlow's double, and I was scared to death, but I jumped off the Rocky Mountains for her.
Good heavens.
Yeah? They're going to take that thing out of there.
Oh, now you come back the other way, huh?
Yeah. They didn't want it in that ocean, so they'll bring her back out there. There it comes, see that?
Why did you start doing all of these incredible things? What's the wildest thing you've ever done? You tell them, because some of these things in the magazine I find hard to believe. What's the wildest thing you've ever done on a motorcycle?
Well, of course, I've had a lot of real close calls, but I guess the one I made the most money of was with Wimbledon Stadium, where they hold the tennis tournament.
Uh-huh.
I rode off a motorcycle with my clothes on fire, petrol or gasoline, they call it here, and I rode down a ramp, up a ramp, jumped into a tank of water, which was 63 feet long, 10 foot wide, and about 5 foot deep. The motorcycle got in the tank, but I hit the 4x4 brace and rolled out to the side and almost broke my back. Well, I walked out that night with $5,875 from my share of the gate. We had 40,000 people. Now, that was one of them, but the time
Wasn't there a thing in the article here?
Well, that was at...
where you're doing the fire thing on a motorcycle?
That was down by the tribe at Uganda. I rode a motorcycle from London to Cape Town, and I went through the Sahara Desert. But when I got to Uganda, I did a show there, because, well, that was my business. I was doing shows. And I advertised and did one there, and I went up to this big tower. It was about 90 feet in the air, and I put a sack on my head, soaked it in petrol or gasoline, and then I dove off of the top.
There's nobody that I know that would go ahead and climb a 90-foot tower, put a paper trash bag over his head and soak it in gasoline, light the bag on fire, and then jump off a 90-foot tower into a little bucket of water. Who would do such a crazy thing? I know I wouldn't. I think it was Putt Mossman. He's the one that would do such a crazy thing.
If you just joined us, we're talking to Putt Mossman, who years ago did a lot of things. Evel Knievel jumps cars. Now, you've jumped cars, haven't you, in motorcycles?
Well, I've jumped as high as 5, and I've jumped the bus. You see, I light on a ramp, and Evel lights on cement. Boy, I'm telling you, to me, I think he's crazy, because when I jump in the water and stuff.
I jumped
110 feet at Santa Monica and Venice Pier 2 different times for MGM and Universal.
What's the story in here that said that once you had that thing where you're going to get on a motorcycle, you set yourself on fire, and you had 15 seconds to drive into something before you could get burned? Now, you got on the motorcycle and said the motorcycle wouldn't start.
Kind of cool history. The first co-announcer at the Costa Mesa Speedway with Bruce Flanders was Pee Wee Cullum. And Pee Wee Cullum, he was a very good motorcycle racer. He raced all over the world. He was a world-class racer. He raced in America. The guy was a star. And he quit all that racing stuff, and he joined Putt Mossman's traveling band of gypsies. Pee Wee Cullum was a member of the Putt Mossman traveling team.
That I used to work with, Pee Wee Cullum, he's out here now.
Yeah.
And he tried to kick that thing to get started, and finally it went. And I went, boy, water never looked so good to me in my life. I got in there.
Yeah.
I was burnt bad in the back of my neck, and 2 days later I had to open in Brockton, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
For the state fair.
You're incredible.
But I made it.
You made it, huh?
Yeah.
Putt did so many things in his lifetime. I think he lived like 30 or 40 people's lifetimes in one, because he was just incredible. I mentioned he was a boxer. He's a baseball player. He worked in vaudeville. He was a stunt rider. He did the shows. He did this. He did that. He was a horseshoe champion. The guy just did everything possible that you could do. I think he was like a cat. He lived like 10 lives.
You were a prize fighter one time?
I fought 59 professional fights.
Who were you, the lightweight? Light heavyweight?
Junior lightweight and lightweight.
How'd you do?
Well, I lost 2, and I won 19 of them by knockouts. I had a pretty good left. Of course, I was clumsy. If I hit them, boy, they heard it. They knew it. But, I mean, I did all right. I got beat with the Australian champion, and I got beat with the Philippine champion, Henry Falgano, at Des Moines, Iowa. I fought 5 main events in Des Moines in 1929.
But you never studied to be a prize fighter, did you?
No, I just took it up because, well, I saw there was some money in it, and, you know.
Of course, I didn't know Putt personally, but the guy, he smelled money. Like anytime there was money to be made, Putt was there. I guess he was a materialistic guy because he had a nose for that money, and he did anything to earn that money. And he made a lot of money.
Did you manage to save a little bit of money when you were out?
Yes,
those
I
days?
saved a little bit. I saved quite a bit. I have 12 places back in Missouri and Arkansas and Arizona and Iowa.
Yeah.
And I have an apartment house in Burlington. You know where Burlington is?
Yes.
Down there by the river where it gets real cold.
Yeah.
One thing you'll notice about Putt is that he talked a lot, and he was pretty interesting guy. You know, if you don't get to see a video on someone, it's hard to kind of visualize it. But watching these videos on Putt, you know that he was a total character.
My wife came from those She was born down there.
Oh, yeah?
And she's getting a little bit old now. I may get me a younger one later, next time. They grow them down there.
Yeah.
They're like Atlanta, Georgia. Boy, they have some real good-looking girls in Missouri.
Your wife out here with you on this trip?
Oh, yeah, she'll be helping me in the show.
She's going to help you on the
never
horseshoe.
met my wife, have you?
No, I haven't met your wife.
Oh? Well, she's not too bad. She don't have to sneak up on a dipper to get a drink, anything like that. She does all right.
You sound like you're trying to unload her.
My wife, when I first met her, she watched me do a show at Poplar Bluff, Missouri.
Yeah.
I saw an ad in the paper at Springfield, and I went down there about this place, and I bought the first place down there. Mm-hmm. And I did a show for the JCs at Poplar Bluff. And she watched me do that show, and she said, I'd love to do that work. And I said, well, don't you leave till I get ready here, and we'll talk about it. So I says, let's go home and meet your folks. I went home, and I'll never forget. I asked the mother for the daughter's hand. I got the father's foot.
This guy, Putt Mossman, was a total character, a very interesting guy. He's a man of my heart, and I hope he's a man of your heart also.
This one here, she does tricks, turns motorcycles over and cars over, and I have her heavily insured.
Yeah, she's heavily insured?
I have her heavily insured. It's you know.
There's a man I look up to. Puts his wife on a motorcycle and insures her heavily.
Yeah, but listen, she turns the car over, Johnny.
She rolls the car?
She rolls the car, a complete somersault. Now, and I tell you, I've been with a lot of thrill shows.
Yeah.
And she's as good as any man driver that ever lived.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, she's cheap. She don't cost me. And another thing.
Yeah.
It's too dangerous for me to do those tricks anymore, like the car. I ride the motorcycle,
Right, but
so I
got the
have
wife in
her
the
do
car.
it, and then I have her heavily insured.
Good.
Sadly to say, Putt's old body, at age 88, he passed away in September of 1994. That guy's body must have been through the ringer. And gosh, we certainly pay tribute to a man of great talent, of great skills of putt, and a great adventurous life. One of the most exciting speedway riders that I have ever experienced. And this guy was crazy athletic, crazy good. And Putt Mossman was a man that certainly lived a full life. Rest in peace, Putt Mossman.